And welcome to video 13 of our dplyr series. We're going to start out by talking about how you group by multiple variables. So I'm going to use this several times, so I'm going to assign it to a new data frame name called daily. And I'm going to take my flights data set and I'm going to group it by the year, the month, and the day, because I'm going to do some things for each day, right? So that's going to be saved into daily. So if I then want to summarize that, so let's take daily, and it's grouped now, so we're going to summarize it. And you'll notice I can spell summarize with either a Z or an S, it doesn't care. And I'm just going to count the number of flights. So I'm just going to use the N function there and see what I get. So I get the number of flights for each day of the year. Okay, so if I assigned that to, let's call that per day. Okay, so let's just save that in per day. And suppose I wanted now to summarize that one. I wanted to count the number. What I'm really after is to try to count the number of flights per month, right? Well, what I got out is not the total number of flights per month, right? So this is why when you're doing a data analysis, you need to stop at each step and double check the results you're getting, right? Because I should be getting, thousands and thousands of them, like 30,000 or so. But instead what I've got is the number of days in the month, okay? Because this is the number of entries that I had here for the month. Okay, so if I wanted, say, the number of flights for the whole year, I would instead want to ungroup. So I will take daily and ungroup it and then summarize the number of flights, and that gives me the number of flights for the year. Okay, so you have to ungroup to remove the grouping. Okay. Now, we're going to proceed now to our class lab, and I want you to think on these things first and pause the video, see if you can find out what you think, and then come back and start it back. Okay? Hang on a second. Okay, first thing I want you to think about is different ways to assess the typical delay characteristics of a group of flights. So suppose you're wanting to do a report for the airport or for the city council or whatever on this airport. And so you'd like to have the delay characteristics of these flights. So you need to think about how do you want to measure this. So, for instance, if a flight is 15 minutes early half the time and 15 minutes late half the time, how do you want to characterize that? Versus a flight that's always 10 minutes late, or a flight that's 30 minutes early half the time and 30 minutes late half the time. Do you want to characterize that the same way as you did this flight, this group of flights? What about 99% of the time a flight is on time or early, and 1% of the time it's 2 hours late? So how are you going to characterize these things? So those are things that are important to consider when you're looking at a data set. For the next problem in our class lab, I want you to come up with another approach that gives you the same output as these two things without using count. So let's do it first with count. So what we get when we use count is we get the number of flights to each destination. Okay, so how could we do that without using count? Hint, it's going to be for each destination, I want the number of flights. Okay, so I'm going to give you a second. I want you to stop and do it yourself and see if you come up with the same thing. So pause the video, work it out yourself, and then come back and see if this is what you got. You may have a different way, and that's okay too. Okay, here's what I got. I tried group by and then summarize. Okay, so now for the next one, you should be able to do that one on your own. So we're looking at an alternate way to get the total distance flown for each tail number. So for each tail number, we want the total distance flown. Okay, so pause the video, see if you can work it out, come back and see if you got the same thing that I did. Okay, hopefully you've already worked it out on your own. And what I did was sum up the distance for each tail number. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here and we'll pick up with video 14. And hopefully that'll be the last one in this series, but I'm not sure. Either 14 or 15 of them.